With just 2 days for the new year to arrive, what are the latest happenings of the country? To bring you the latest on everything, welcome to Lunchtime News on TV1. Bringing you the news from the news desk, I am Sandru Satyajit. First, your headlines. India arrests terror suspect who held links with Zahran Hashim. 3 people arrested for setting fire to the Akre-Pattu court document archives. Russia's Red Wings Airlines commences flights to Sri Lanka. New metro rail service for Bangladesh's capital Dhaka with Japanese aid. Plans to claim 14,000 acres of abandoned paddy lands for farming by the government. Your news now in detail. Red Wings Airlines of Russia commenced scheduled charter flight operations to Mattala Rajapaksa International Airport from Moscow, Russia, with effect from Thursday. The first scheduled flight reached Mattala carrying 404 Russian passengers.
Flight operations at the Mattala Rajapaksa International Airport resumed after 2 months on Thursday. The Sri Lankan embassy said Red Wings Airlines is the third Russian airline serving direct flights to Sri Lanka. The other 2 airlines are Azur Air and Aeroflot. Initially, Red Wings will operate charter services to Sri Lanka twice a week in partnership with leading tour operators in Russia, and discussions are underway to operate regular flights afterwards.
Bangladesh's capital now has its first metro rail, a Japanese-funded project that aims to ease commuting in one of the most congested cities in the world.
A section of the over 20-kilometer urban rail project known as Line 6 was inaugurated by Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina on Wednesday. Dhaka to a hub of government offices and hospitals in the middle for now. Eventually, it will cut through the city to the financial district of Motijil in the south. While the project is likely to bring significant changes to how people travel in Dhaka, its inauguration will also give some much-needed political mileage to Hasina's government. In Dhaka, with 10.3 million people packed in 305 square kilometers, the average driving speeds have dropped to less than 7 kilometers an hour right now from 21 kilometers an hour 10 years ago. Given the current trends, the World Bank report has estimated it could drop as low as 4 kilometers an hour, slower than walking.
Moving on to other stories, the Indian National Investigation Agency arrested a member of Islamic State who was in touch with the mastermind of the 2019 Easter Day bombings in Sri Lanka. The suspect was also arrested for his alleged links with suspects in the October 23rd blast in Tamil Nadu's Coimbatore.
The Indian National Investigation Agency also arrested another man identified as Sanafa Ali for allegedly taking part in plans to carry out terror attacks in the country. NIA officers familiar with the developments said IS member Sheikh Hidayatullah was allegedly in touch with Zahran Hashim, the mastermind of the deadly Easter Sunday bombings in Sri Lanka on the 21st of April 2019.
Meanwhile, Sri Lanka police arrested 3 people for setting fire to the document archives of the Akre-Pattu court complex. A police spokesperson SSP Nihal Thalduwa told News First that it can be assumed that the suspects have set fire to the premises on the instructions of another person. The 3 suspects will be produced to the Akre-Pattu court on Thursday. 2 of the suspects were arrested while hiding in houses located in the Periyanilavelia area in Akre-Pattu. The other suspect was arrested from Akre-Pattu. Sri Lanka police said that all 3 suspects have pending cases at the Akre-Pattu court. The Inter-University Students' Federation met with the New Democratic Marxist-Leninist Party for talks on Thursday morning. The Inter-University Students' Federation and the New Democratic Marxist-Leninist Party discussed the extended detention of IUSF convener Vasantha Mudalige, detention of political prisoners and the controversial Prevention of Terrorism Act.
Vasantha Mudalige සහෝදරයන් නිදහස් කළ යුතුයි. ත්‍රස්තවාදයේ වැළැක්වීමේ පනත වහා
Vasantha Mudalige should be released. The PTA should be repealed. All political prisoners must be released. The rights that people ask for must be given. If they think that they can stop us from having an Aragalaya, we will show them that it is not true.
මේ අරගල කරන එක නවත්තන්න පුළුවන් කියලා හිතාගෙන ඉන්නවා නම් ඒක කරන්න බෑ කියන එක මේ වෙලාවේ මතක් කරනවා.
දේශපාලන සිරකරුවන්ගේ නිදහස් වෙනුවෙන් දිගින් දිගටම සටන් කර පක්ෂයක්.
As a party that has always fought for the freedom of political prisoners, we are united in this. Our party supports to bring forward the IUSF to release these political prisoners, and our parties are aligned for these causes.
පනතට එරෙහිව සටනදී අපි පක්ෂ සම්පූර්ණ සහයෝගය ලබා දෙනවා කියන පණිවිඩය මෙතනදී අපි කියන්න කැමැතියි.
Moving on to a headline-making story, Sri Lanka's Agriculture Ministry says that over 14,000 acres of abandoned paddy land will be taken over by the state for cultivation in 2023. Minister of Agriculture Mahinda Amarveera said the Department of Agrarian Development was instructed to take the necessary measures.
Authorities have identified 2,774 acres of abandoned paddy land in the districts of Matale, Nuwara, Vavuniya, Kurunegala, Mana, Putlam, Badula and Monaragala, which have not been cultivated for 5 years. The Agriculture Ministry said that a decision was taken to take over 14,000 acres of abandoned paddy land, including 11,256 abandoned paddy land identified across other 6 districts. It added that the aforementioned 8 districts will be free of abandoned paddy lands by 2023.
Moving on to other stories, the Constitutional Council will meet on Thursday to reach a final decision on appointing 3 civil society representatives to the Constitutional Council that was established via the 21st Amendment to the Constitution.
Speaker Mahinda Apabewardena, speaking to Newsfirst, said that 112 applications were received for the civil society representation in the Constitutional Council. The accepting of applications for civil society representatives to the Constitutional Council concluded on the 28th of November 2022. Persons of eminence and integrity who have distinguished themselves in public or professional life and who are not members of any political party as indicated in the guidelines for appointment were eligible to submit their applications. Speaker Mahinda Apabewardena, speaking to Newsfirst, said that 3 civil society representatives to the Constitutional Council will be selected from among those who applied or from those who did not apply for the position but possess the necessary qualifications to be appointed to the Constitutional Council. The selected names will be directed to the Parliament for approval.
The National Election Commission met on Thursday morning to reach several decisions, including the date to call for nominations for the local government election. In addition, the Inspector General of Police, senior officials at the Defence Ministry, Postmaster General, Government Printer, amongst others, was summoned to the Election Commission on Thursday. The chairman of the Election Commission, Attorney Nimal Punchihevo, said the meeting was called for to discuss the necessary measures related to the local government election. The Election Commission said that the local government election is expected to take place before the 10th of March 2023. The chairman of the Election Commission, Attorney Nimal Punchihevo, said that the Gazette notification calling for nominations for the local government election is expected to be issued before the 5th of January 2023. The names of the elected candidates will be published via Gazette by the 20th of March 2023.
On other local stories, leader of the National People's Power, Anura Kumara Dissanayake, said that if the country is to rise up, the corrupt and those involved in fraud must be punished.
අපි දීර්ඝ කාලයක් තිස්සේ කිව්වා මේ රට ගොඩනගන්න නම් වංචනිකයන්ට දූෂිතයන්ට
We have been repeating the fact that if the country is to rise up, the corrupt and those involved in fraud must be punished. At present, the youth and even the newly married are unemployed. They are compelled to leave the country. If you go to the airport, you will see the mother with her children and with tears in her eyes, waving goodbye to her husband who is going overseas. Large-scale theft paved the way for this bitter situation. Our Sri Lankan women are being auctioned for prostitution. The Prime Minister of Pakistan was jailed. The Bangladesh Prime Minister was jailed. Indian ministers were jailed and chief ministers from Tamil Nadu were jailed. However, not even a Pradesh Sabha member in Sri Lanka will see a jail cell. Are they all having clean slates? They are protecting each other. The International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies says that over 5 million Sri Lankans need assistance.
International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies said that the current crisis in Sri Lanka is affecting all sectors of the society and has created the conditions for increasing vulnerability, poverty and destitution among a significant proportion of the population. It said that an estimated 5.7 million people, which is 26% of the population or more, are now in the need of humanitarian assistance. It added that at least 4.9 million, which is 22%, are food insecure. According to the IFRC assessment, pre-existing levels of the undernutrition and wasting among children under 5 years are worrisome. It added that due to the crisis, income is said to have stopped for 11% of households and decreased to 62%, with more than 85% adopting coping mechanisms.
Meanwhile, Sri Lanka's Director General of Health Services, Dr. Asela Gunawardena, declared the 30th and 31st of December as special dengue control days.
The Health Ministry said that as of the 26th of December 2022, a total of 75,434 dengue cases were reported across Sri Lanka, which is double the number reported in 2021. It added that as the situation continues to develop, Sri Lanka is facing a huge risk of a large number of dengue cases being reported across the country in January 2023. The Health Ministry said that on the 30th and 31st of December 2022, the public should take measures to look for places where mosquitoes can breed in and around their homes and remove them, and the same should apply to places of work and public places.
Sri Lanka's new commander of the Navy called on the commanders of the Sri Lanka Army and the Sri Lanka Air Force on Wednesday. Commander of the Navy Vice Admiral Priyantha Perera met Commander of the Air Force, Air Marshal Sudarshana Patirana, at the Air Force headquarters. Upon his arrival at the Air Force headquarters, Vice Admiral Priyantha Perera was accorded a Guard of Honor. The visit also marked the first official interaction between them after Vice Admiral Priyantha Perera's appointment as the 25th Commander of the Sri Lanka Navy. During the cordial discussion that ensued, Commander of the Air Force extended his best wishes to Vice Admiral Priyantha Perera for assuming command as the commander of the prestigious organization. They also exchanged views on matters of mutual importance. The meeting culminated with an exchange of mementos between two parties. Commander of the Navy Vice Admiral Priyantha Perera called on Commander of the Army Lieutenant General Vikum Liyanage at the Army headquarters. The visiting Commander of the Navy was warmly received, according a special Guard of Honor at the Army headquarters. This also turned out to be the first official interaction between the top brass of the Army and the Navy after Vice Admiral Priyantha Perera assumed office as the 25th Commander of the Sri Lanka Navy. In the ensuing meeting, Lieutenant General Vikum Liyanage extended his best wishes to Vice Admiral Priyantha Perera on his well-deserved promotion, and they held a cordial discussion on several matters of mutual interests. Mementos were also exchanged to mark the importance of this occasion. Moving on to other stories, government records show that 701,331 people travelled to Sri Lanka between January 2022 and the 26th of December 2022.
According to the summary report on tourist arrivals this year, 73,314 tourists had visited Sri Lanka as of the 26th of December. The highest number of tourist arrivals of 106,500 was recorded in March 2022. The second highest number of tourist arrivals of 96,507 was recorded in February 2022. In 2021, a total of 194,495 visited Sri Lanka, and the number spikes to over 700,000 6,000 in 2022. The highest number of tourists who visited Sri Lanka in 2022 are from India, with a total of 119,546 visitors, followed by the Russian Federation with 86,990 visitors.
Lead guitarist of the Sunflower Band, Chalana Pumantha Chandrasiri, passed away. This was after performing at a concert held in Heligoda on Wednesday night. Chalana Pumantha Chandrasiri performed at his last musical show in Heligoda on Wednesday night. Leader of the Sunflower Band, Neil Varnakulasuriya, said that Chalana Pumantha fell ill while having his breakfast on Thursday morning. Moving on to news overseas, the US is the latest country to impose mandatory COVID tests on visitors from China after it announced it would reopen its borders next week. On Monday and Tuesday, China announced it would ease its restrictions on travel to and from the country. From the 8th of January, quarantine for travelers entering China will end and passport applications for Chinese citizens will resume, authorities said. Travel sites reported a spike in traffic following the announcements, and some countries revised their travel rules. The US said that from the 5th of January, all passengers traveling from China, Hong Kong and Macau would need a negative COVID test to enter the country in order to slow the spread of the virus. A US Department of Health statement said air passengers would need to take a COVID test no more than 2 days before departure. It added that those who tested positive more than 10 days before the flight could provide documentation of recovery from COVID instead of a negative test result. Tighter measures have also been brought by Italy, Japan, Malaysia, Taiwan and India. However, Beijing said coronavirus rules should be brought in on a scientific basis and accused some countries and media of hyping up the situation. In more news overseas, Pope Francis says his predecessor Pope Benedict is very sick and asked for prayers for the 95-year-old former pontiff.
Pope Francis has said that former Pope Benedict XVI is very ill and that he has asked pilgrims at the Vatican to pray for him. Benedict, aged 95, became the first leader of the Catholic Church to stand down in 600 years. Since 2013, citing advanced age. Benedict, aged 95, became the first leader of the Catholic Church to stand down in 600 years back in 2013, citing advanced age. At the end of the Pope's final audience of the year, he asked people to pray a special prayer for Pope Emeritus Benedict. The Vatican then said the ex-pope's health had worsened in recent hours. He was the 8th German to become pope and was known for his conservative traditionalist views, campaigning against the social activism of liberation theology.
That's all the news for now, bringing you the news from the news desk. This is Sandro Satyajit signing off. Have a beautiful day.